Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper, coming to you live from Copley Square in Boston, Massachusetts. Our buried lead today is a subject the president has not been asked about in a White House news conference since September 2010, closing Gitmo. It's a promise President Obama made in his first presidential campaign and has failed to keep. Is the president ready for round two?
I'm going to go back at this. I've asked my team to review everything that's currently being done in Guantanamo, everything that we can do administratively, and I'm going to re-engage with Congress to try to make the case that this is not something that's in the best interest of the American people.
And what are we hearing about Guantanamo? Hunger strikes, accusations of torture. Just what's happening to the 166 prisoners still there? Well, now we're getting an inside look, thanks to one prisoner, Mohammedo Ould Salahi, who's been there since 2002. His memoirs have been declassified by the U.S. government, and today were printed by Slate.com. I'm joined now by their politics and foreign affairs editor, William Dobson. William, thanks so much for joining us. I want to read part of what Mohammedo wrote in his memoirs. This was when he first arrived in Gitmo. Quote, "I considered the arrival to Cuba a blessing. I wrongly believed that the worst was over and cared less about the time it would take the Americans to figure out I'm not the guy they are looking for. I trusted the American justice system too much." William, walk us through what has happened to him.
Right. In 2001, shortly after 9/11, at the request of the U.S. government, Mauritanian officials, and Slahi is Mauritanian, that's where he was living, U.S. officials asked that they pick him up for questioning. He was detained and questioned for about 2 weeks, when at that point he was put on a rendition flight to Jordan. In Jordan, he was interrogated for close to 8 months, and he was interrogated there under some of the harshest conditions. He was tortured. From there, the Jordanians said that they did not believe that this was a person who had any responsibility for past terrorist plots. The U.S. government wasn't satisfied with that response, and so he was then sent to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, held for 2 weeks, and then ultimately moved to Guantanamo on August 5th, 2002, where he's remained ever since.
And where does his case stand now?
Well, in 2010, he has been pursuing the U.S., going through the U.S. justice system to try to win his release. And in 2010, a U.S. district court granted him his habeas petition and ordered the U.S. government to release him, basically saying you have no evidence to tie him to any charges. And so, since that time, the Obama administration has appealed that decision, and he is now waiting for his next rehearing, probably sometime later this year.
And there are approximately 100 of the 166 prisoners in Guantanamo Bay participating in a hunger strike. Do you happen to know if Mohammedo is involved in the strike?
We don't believe that he is. I mean, in part, it probably wouldn't make sense for him to, because here's someone who has an active case going through the U.S. court system, and he's probably waiting to pursue that avenue. I mean, what we have in Guantanamo right now is 166 prisoners. I believe it's about 83 of which who have been cleared for release. 93 are participating in this hunger strike. So the people that are participating in this hunger strike, many of those that are cleared for release, but who have lost all hope that they'll ever be let go.
All right, William Dobson of Slate, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.